So there's been a lot of debate that I've seen on LinkedIn, for example, and people are saying that enterprise architecture isn't agile.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't fit in with the way that industry is going, the way that IT is going. Do you see that, or?
I think that the general way enterprise architecture has been previously, I understand that. You can't spend 6 to 12 months planning either your business architecture or technical architecture anymore. With the way that businesses need to react to the environment, there needs to be a form of enterprise architecture that focuses more on being able to do things quickly, being able to do things efficiently, utilizing principles and patterns to influence a business that is looking to be more agile.
Yeah.
And I think there's becoming more and more focus on enterprise architects being part of Scrum teams, being part of the leadership around those areas with product managers and similar roles to be able to influence without having to do that upfront planning.
Yeah.
So being able to support and understand what is just enough. And I think that's where I'm starting to see it, enterprise architecture going more towards, is not being a lot of planning and a lot of strategy, but being more just enough strategy and just enough planning to be able to produce all those benefits of enterprise architecture without becoming a burden on the business. And I think as soon as you start taking too much time, then the business starts to disengage with something that's getting in the way of them being agile, and you can't, or you won't be in a position to influence where they're going.
No, definitely. And I suppose one thing that has been raised as well, if you are being more agile with enterprise architecture, do you run the risk of being a no shop?
Yeah. Well, and I think generally that's the risk of traditional architecture, being seen as a no shop. And I think that being more agile within an architecture environment is not saying no, but it's saying, how can I support you to achieve X? Often as an architect, I get people come to me with either solutions in their mind or things that haven't been fully analyzed. And it's not about saying no, it's about saying, okay, I can support you on doing what you want to do. What is the outcome you want? Let's sit down and work through this. And I think that's the value of the agile architecture, is to work with someone in tandem with them, which in a way will get them more buy-in in what you are producing anyway.
Yeah, no, that's good, because I think ultimately, there is that. I suppose it's been tarnished, hasn't it? It's the view of enterprise architecture. It's this ivory tower function. They design pretty diagrams and really don't deliver anything. Yeah. Whereas, from what I've seen, just from the 6 months of really just out speaking with people, it's been a case of, well, actually, you're a department that is helping to change perceptions.
Yeah.
It's not just about saying no. It's about actually looking into why people are doing things, understanding whether it's actually going to deliver any value, understand what impact it's going to have on the rest of the business. Because one analogy I always use is that if you look at traditional architecture, if you're building a skyscraper, it's not going to be something that's going to sit there for 30 years, is it? It's something that needs to be long-standing. But that said, if your client turns around to you and says, I want to put a complete glass face on the north side, you're going to think they're mad.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get any value from that, because south-facing means you get sunlight and you get all the benefits. And it's having that understanding about that is what architecture transitions into in a business. Yeah. Starting with business and then moving into how technology aligns with that.
And I think the risk sometimes with the analogy of kind of architecture being called architecture is people think of that upfront planning you have to do to build a building, that you have to do months and months of planning and intricate design to even lay a brick. Yeah. Whereas where we are now, no one has that luxury to spend 6 to 8 months planning something from a technology point of view before they're starting to do it. And I think that where architecture can add value is starting to learn from where things don't go well. The analogy I use is, well, if I make an omelette, I vaguely know how to make an omelette. I've done it enough times. But if I, see something in the fridge, like a chorizo, I know how to incorporate that into the mix to be able to still make an omelette. Yeah. And I think that's where architecture is going now, that you are trying to look at, the patterns, the strategies of which you are working within. It's now supporting the business if they throw a chorizo at you or tomatoes or whatever it is that is coming up, to be able to support them to still make an omelette at the end of the day, because it needs to be that quick, that rapid, and that natural, that people can embody that themselves. And I think part of the risk of architecture is it's seen as such a speciality and such a niche thing that people can't own it. And I think that one of the things that worked really well for me is working with business owners to help them own some of the architecture processes, be it a product owner, identifying drivers and goals before you start doing business architecture, or getting them to understand the process that a technical or solution architecture might be developed from, so that they understand either the correct planning without me having to sit down and plan everything with them, or they understand at what point to engage an architecture function that generally, architecture functions are going to be maxed out all the time, because it's one of those areas where if people start to see the benefit, you're going to get more people wanting support, and it's hard to maintain the kind of level of competencies to the volume that most businesses want.
Yeah, brilliant. And I really like that food analogy, because you can twist that to however you want. There's plenty of recipes out there, but if you apply that sort of logic to it and you try to target it across the entirety of an enterprise, you can think to the extent of, well, actually, how many people in the world have nut allergies? How many people hate hot foods? So if you're making your omelette, for example, and you're pouring it with Tabasco, that's not going to go down well for everyone.
No, and it doesn't always have to. And I think that's why I use food so often as a metaphor, is that, it's something everyone does, and it's full of processes. And that's what enterprise architecture is focused on. Processes, supporting business processes, defining processes, and it works so well to help people in the business understand. I think for me in my career, that's something that I learned, that if you pick a topic of metaphors that you can start to understand and develop yourself, if you can help people understand what you do through something as simple as food, then anyone can pick up why you're asking them these questions, or why you need this bit of information, or what you're going to do next, or why it's taken you 5 days to produce one diagram.